I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that I used to care way too much about what other people thought of me. And I took too many things personally that had nothing to do with me. The more I cared what people thought of me, the more I sought validation and approval from them. And the more I did that, the more exhausted I became, running around, trying to be who I thought I should be, or do what would make other people happy. In Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, the one agreement that I had the most trouble with was never take anything personally.
It offers profound wisdom, especially when recovering from being a people pleaser or codependent. If you're going through a breakup or a friend ghosted you, it's easy to internalize the rejection, feeling as though you weren't good enough or that you were to blame for the relationship's demise, and the other person may have even said something to that effect. But Ruiz's insight invites us to reconsider how we process these experiences. At its core, never take anything personally teaches us that people's actions are a reflection of their own inner world and not a reflection of our value. When someone mistreats or rejects us, it's often due to their own fears, insecurities, and unresolved issues. It's not about us at all. Yet, in the depths of despair when we get dumped, this can be hard to believe. We might replay scenarios asking ourselves, what did I do wrong, or why wasn't I good enough? Ruiz helps us break free from these harmful thought loops by reminding us that other people's behavior is driven by their own beliefs, desires, internal struggles, which have nothing to do with who we are as individuals. Has a driver ever cut you off in traffic and you took it personally? I have. And how silly is that? It's a complete stranger, and yet we feel personally offended by their actions. What about the coworker who just snaps at you seemingly for no reason? You might take that personally, even thinking, what did I do to you? For years, I thought it was my fault that my ex cheated, that there was something about me that caused his behavior. It was so liberating and empowering to finally grasp the concept that his cheating defined who he was, not who I am. Wherever you are in your personal growth journey, I encourage you to study this theory and start putting it into practice. The sooner, the better. Here's how this idea can be transformative for anyone healing from a breakup. If we can truly internalize the sense that someone's rejection is not a statement about our worth, we protect our self-esteem. It allows us to step back and recognize that we are whole and valuable, regardless of how someone else perceives or treats us. In heartbreak, this shift in mindset is critical to moving forward without the weight of blame or shame. A lot of our pain during a breakup comes from the ego, the part of us that seeks validation, acceptance, and love. When we don't receive that, the ego feels bruised and rejected. By not taking things personally, we can begin to detach from these ego-driven emotions and see the situation with more neutrality. We can start to understand that the breakup doesn't mean we're unworthy of love, but that there were just differences between us. Of course, it's painful when these breakups come after many years together, but people do grow apart, and we don't know what's going on internally for our partner if they don't let us in. When we stop taking things personally, we free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster of other people's opinions and their behaviors. I was able to develop the belief that if someone has an issue to bring to me, I trust them to do that, but I'm not going to waste my mental energy wondering if I said or did something wrong. My self-awareness is pretty well developed, so if I feel I have behaved in a way that might have offended someone, I will address it with them directly. This agreement to never take anything personally also encourages us to view others with empathy instead of judgment. The person who hurt us is likely dealing with their own internal battles. Recognizing this allows us to release the resentment we may be holding on to and focus on our own healing journey rather than dwelling on how they wronged us. Yes, they may have hurt us tremendously, and we have a right to be angry and to express that anger in a healthy and constructive way. But if they don't have the healing and growth that's required for them to apologize or acknowledge their behavior, all we can do is focus on our own healing. It can take years for an ex-partner to ask for forgiveness, and most of the time they don't because they lack self-awareness, emotional depth, empathy, and maturity. Years ago, I'd published an article titled 6 Signs I Missed When My Husband Was Cheating that got syndicated onto the Yahoo front page. At first, it felt amazing to see all the comments that were amassing below the article, but then I started to read them. I think that was the moment I realized that I'd actually integrated Don Miguel Ruiz's agreement never to take anything personally. There were comments about how I must have been fat, denying sex to my husband, or been ungrateful. People wrote that I was selfish, stupid, or deserved what happened. I couldn't believe the vitriol I was reading from people who had no idea who I was. Instead of feeling insecure about myself, I actually felt sad for those people that they were so angry about something a complete stranger wrote about. What was going on within them that unleashed their inner keyboard warrior? Ruiz's wisdom, when applied to any aspect of our lives, is liberating. It reminds us to prioritize our internal peace over external circumstances. For anyone listening right now who's going through heartbreak, I encourage you to really sit with this concept, study it, journal about it. The way someone treated you is not a reflection of who you are. It is a reflection of who they are. You are still deserving of love, joy, and connection. By embracing this truth, you take the first step toward healing, growth, and ultimately a more empowered version of yourself. As I've grown and become more independent and self-accepting, I feel such an incredible sense of freedom and empowerment that I've never experienced before. When I started to tune out the noise and focus on what truly mattered to me, it gave me strength. I became more confident, more self-assured, and more of my authentic self. If you are starting out on this journey, of course it's going to feel scary and uncomfortable. You might feel a little lost without relying on the opinions of others who you trusted. But as you continue on this journey, you'll start to notice changes in your life. You'll develop greater trust within yourself. You build up your self-reliance, your self-confidence, and you might just find that you enjoy your own company and feel less of a need to socialize out of habit, but more out of intentional choices that put you in the company of supportive and encouraging people who lift you up, who you feel energized being around, not depleted or on edge. In the end, when I stopped caring about what others think of me, it has been one of the most liberating experiences of my life. Now, this may sound contradictory, but I do care what you think about this content. I know how alone I felt after going through such a devastating heartbreak, and my desire is to share information, tools, and insights with you so that you may find your way toward healing. So please let me know in the comments. Are these videos helpful? Is there something you don't like about this content or want to see it differently? I genuinely would like some feedback. Thank you, and be good to yourself.